Good evening, guys. Good to see you again, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
Bob popped in earlier and just asking for a friend popped in earlier, but he will be back. And then you have a lot of on your side, Mike. A lot of people that popped in. Hey, Katie. Good to see you. Don't tread on me, Pop dropped in. Good evening, all, he says. Donk on the road says also good evening. Good to see you guys. And Fire Dr. Ninja Turtle, good to see you again, Daryl, and Vanessa Kitty too. And Teresa, good to see you again. $39 in the house, so that's good. Today's topic, the digital bank freeze, financial collapse.
So a nice, cheery, uplifting, positive stream then, yes?
Yeah. But it's actually a possibility that can happen.
Yeah.
Because there will be a hacker state around hackers who can basically figure out something to crash the banking system globally.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways of looking at this as a topic of the digital bank freeze. I mean, when I first saw the topic with the invite, obviously, my head instantly went to the government freezing our bank accounts and stuff like that. Because
that is a possibility too.
Yeah, we talk about centralized digital currency. That would make it easier for them, but they can freeze our bank accounts now. You can have your assets frozen now, but obviously there's strict legal frameworks that surround that at the moment.
Field systems on your side.
Hackers.
Yeah. The great taking. Yeah.
It says here, authorities only need reasonable grounds to suspect that money in the account, which can be as little as £1,000, is either the proceeds of crime or intended unlawful use. So there's never more than £1,000 in my account, so I think I'm safe there.
Yeah.
No warning because you give notice. It would allow someone to move the money. These freezes happen instantly without warning.
Yeah, and I put the notes. I copied the same thing as it is in the description box for this live stream. So the situation is a massive global ransomware attack targets the SWIFT banking network instantly. All major credit cards, debit cards, mobile payment apps, and ATMs go offline. The government declares a 5-day banking holiday to prevent a run on the banks. You have exactly $45 or £45 in physical cash in your wallet, half a tank of gas, and about 3 days of food in the pantry.
Lesson 1, don't just have 3 days food in the pantry. If I've got 3 days food in the pantry, something's gone drastically wrong beforehand.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, that's a difficult scenario because you've painted right there a situation that a lot of us aren't in because we're prepared. We're more prepared. So we could probably talk about the preparedness to avoid that in the first place. But in that situation, that £45 purely has to go on food and water for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah. I wouldn't dismiss that everything's going to stay on If it's a cyber attack, it could be a stage of a larger scale attack. And
Yeah.
one of the main things they're going to target is infrastructure, that being banking, followed by potentially power, water, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, they would literally have to go on food and water, and you can get a month's worth of food for that. Even with the prices in the UK at the moment, if you're frugal, if it's like rice, pasta, the cheap stuff,
Beans.
the budget stuff, yeah. I've done multiple videos on my channel, excuse me, of £20 shops, and them £20 shops will easily go 10 days, 15
Yeah.
days, spread out depending on what it is. So you'd have to go out and you'd have to shop frugally, but I imagine in that situation as well, I can't imagine the supermarkets are going to be a nice place to be at, because many people will be doing the same thing.
Yeah. They would clean the shelves in the supermarket easily.
That's if you can find one open.
Yeah.
Because as soon as the policy, I don't know what it's like where you are, but the policy for major supermarkets over here is if they've no power, they close the doors. It's as simple as that.
It's the same here. It's the same here, because all those doors are on a electrical power, so they will be closed anyway.
Yeah. I would be immediately going to the nearest small mom and pop store kind of thing, where you know that they'll still take cash and they'll be lighting things up with candles if the power went and stuff like that. So they won't be too bothered about the tills being down. They'll just work it out, and I would just get everything I possibly could from there at a higher price, no doubt.
I need to check my notes again. It is spread into different phases. The liquidity rush. Our word is spreading fast. The local grocery store is still open, but is operating on a cash-only basis. The lines are already forming outside. What is your financial strategy? Option A, take your $45 or 45 pounds to the grocery store immediately and buy whatever high-calorie canned goods you can find before the shelves are empty.
Yeah. Is there an option B? Because that was option A.
Yeah, there is actually option B and option C.
Go ahead. Give me all the options and then I'll decide.
Option B, keep your $45 or 45 pound cash safe at home. Instead, gather valuable items you own, like silver, jewelry, high-end tools, or extra liquor, or cigarettes, and head to a local trading spot to barter for food. Option C, skip the store entirely. Use your half tank of gas to drive to a rural farm and stand 15 miles away, betting they will be less crowded and more willing to accept digital or alternative trade.
Interesting. My first thought being where I am in an urban environment will be option A. If I had 3 days worth of food, I'd just go and get whatever I could with that money.
Yeah.
There's nothing then to stop me later on using my half tank of gas to bug out and to get away and to find somewhere more remote. But yeah, I think it would be option A. Option B doesn't sound viable to me. I don't think people would be... There's no inherent... As much as we can see value in precious metals and stuff,
Yeah,
to the general public, they don't know. A lot of them will not know. So, you'd be given a diamond ring for 2 cans of beans and stuff like that, and silver for whatever you possibly can. Most people still see a small silver piece like one of the 1/16 and think it's a 5p. So they'll just instantly put that value on it. I don't think trading would be an option that early on, unless it's with other preppers.
Yeah. We have a reality check. We have actually an option A. It says it Option A is the smartest immediate move. In the opening hours of a financial freeze, cash is still king.
Mhm.
Option B is highly inefficient and dangerous on a day one because people haven't accepted that the digital system is truly down yet. Driving
Mhm.
15 miles away. Option C wastes your highly valuable, non-replaceable gasoline on gamble.
Yeah. Like I say, that would be the getting out, the using that fuel up would be the last resort. So you'd want to keep that. So yeah, 100% agree with that. Don't be in the situation in the first place, but you're right about there's two ways of looking at it as well. It's that normalcy bias that people will have, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, it'll be fine. Oh, they're working on it. It'll be fine. Yeah, the government's, they've said it's a bank holiday, so they can sort it out. It'll all be fine. My money will still be there. My mortgage will still be there, etc., etc. And that denial will last as long as, the situation does. I think 2 weeks into a situation like this, there'll still be somebody sat there going, yeah, it'll probably be sorted by tomorrow. The denial will kill a lot of people.
Yeah. And the problem with that is 2 weeks later and it's still down. It will not be better tomorrow. It will still continue
Mm-hmm.
until the banking system figures out how to get around it. But that will take time, a lot of time.
I mean, like I say, this would spell alarm bells for me as could be the start of something bigger. So I'm not going to go and, dig a hole and bury all my stash and hide in a bunker somewhere. But at the same foot, even from day one of this, I'd be planning for further outages, for no money, for power outages and stuff like that. I would be getting as ready as I possibly. I mean, if you're getting ready after it happens, you're not a prepper because your time for prepping is gone. You're in survival mode at that point.
Yeah.
Whether you think it's going to be all back on and wonderful and rainbows and sunshine in 5 days' time, or you think it's going to last forever, either way, day one, event happens, you are then dealing with the consequences and the fallout of that from then on.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Here's a question, Shadow.
Yeah.
Would you still go to work? Because
that would not be possible.
Well, no. Well, it depends because you'd want to say if the workplace doesn't rely on the banking for their actual trade, so you're not working in a retailer. So let's say you're working in a production factory. They still want you to come to work because they still will promise to pay you. Right? When the banks come back on, it's just a glitch. Payday is not for 2 weeks, so you shouldn't have to worry about it. So do you still go to work? Or is that too risky?
I think it's a little bit of both, I guess.
Yeah, you want job security, but you've got to keep an eye on the ball as well.
Yeah, if the boss tells you need to come to work anyway, okay, you need to do as the boss tell you to do. So, but I work in a grocery store.
Yeah.
So that is a little bit of different situation.
Well, you say that, but they might want those employees to turn up anyway to help with securing it and making sure people don't get in and stock taking and things like that.
Yeah. But even if the financial system is down, they can't use the registers.
Yeah. But the denial we're talking about, the normalcy bias we're talking about, your boss might suffer with that as well. And 7 days into a scenario, we could know it's getting worse. The power's starting to fluctuate, stuff like that. But as far as he's concerned, Mike, you've still got to come into work. How long do I listen to him? At what point do I say, actually, no, it's getting a bit dangerous around here. I'm going to stay with my family.
Yeah. Jill says, when the Soviet Union collapsed, people still went to work because there wasn't anything else to do. A bunch of those businesses survived to repay the employees down to the road.
Interesting. The boredom factor, and they've still gone to work and done their work and kind of done the honorable thing, as it were. But I suppose it depends on the situation around you. If this happens in the height of summer and there's civil unrest and people are kicking off and, crazy people are shouting at the ATMs because they're not giving them money.
Yeah.
And they're starting to, desperate people are starting to, you talk about us having 3 days of food. How many people on day 4 will think I'm getting food no matter what? Whether that's from a neighbor, whether that's smashing the front of a McDonald's shop or a Greg's store or something like that, whether it's looting, how many people are going to turn to that on day 4?
I believe a lot of people would do that, except for the elders, the retirees who their health is not good. They will not be able to do that. But I would be in a high risk because I deliver groceries to regular people and companies. So if my company car is marked with my company's logo on the car, so they will everyone
big target that says I've got food.
Yeah. So if they see my car on the street, they know I will deliver groceries. So that would be a high risk for me because that would not be a good situation for me because I wouldn't drive. I would refuse to drive. Yeah.
Teresa said to pay for gas to get to work. That sounds like a good excuse. Yes, especially you could always tell the boss I've no fuel left. I was going to fill up this morning and now I can't. So maybe the excuse handbook has to come out.
Yeah, and the problem is I need to refuel. If I have full tank of gasoline, I can drive. I need to refuel every 2 weeks with diesel.
Yeah.
So let's say if I have full tank, okay, I can manage to deliver for at least 14 days. But after that, I can't. And the problem is on the gas station, you put in your plastic card and you fill up your car.
Yeah. I mean, even if you had that full tank, that's your emergency. That's your get out. Would you want to waste it still trying to fulfill your work? Or would you want to keep that in case you have to get out of there?
Yeah. So that will be a huge problem for me because especially the most dangerous thing would be if when I stop at one of my customers' homes and I open the side doors or back door to take out the groceries and carry it up, okay? That would be the most dangerous thing in a situation like that.
Especially if we're talking a few days in. 3 days is generous in comparison with how a lot of people live around here where I am, because I'm a very urban area. There's many people that will shop daily. Literally, they might have condiments in the fridge and some beers, but other than that, everything else will be like, we'll buy the food today that we're eating tonight, the same the day after, the same the day after. So by day 2, they're going to be them hungry, desperate people. 3, 4, 5 is just going to get worse.
Yeah. And most people here, what I have noticed, most people do their shopping for 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, they need to restock.
Hi, Bob. I think that would
Hey,
be
Bob.
the same. The more rural you go here, semi-rural and stuff like that, the suburbs, technically,
Yeah,
a lot of people will be like that. I mean, when I was a kid, it would be a big monthly shop and then a weekly shop that helped top that up. But like I say, in the city, everything's so convenient, everything is so on your doorstep that people just don't see the need to spend that much.
yeah, I agree. And I know people. Some of my customers do their grocery shopping for a month. It's a few of them who doing that, but some doing their shopping for 1 month.
Yeah, yeah, which is the sensible way to do it. But if you have nothing in reserve, this could all happen still 3 days before you're due to do your month's shopping, right? So you could still be in the same boat, even if you have a month's worth of shopping. You've used it up until this point.
Yeah,
It's a ticking clock.
yeah, it is.
Now, I suppose the question is, why has this not happened yet more?
Yeah, that is actually a really good question.
Yeah, I mean, I know banks put a lot of money into security. Okay, we know this in
They
general.
invest a lot of money in security.
But up until very recently, most of their websites, most of their web technologies were very outdated.
Yeah,
I speak from experience, like working in that industry. It was very outdated tech, but it's who's the culprit here. That's what you've got to kind of establish.
yeah,
If it's a sole hacker, they might just be doing it to prove they can. They might be doing it for ransomware. It's difficult to do it when it's not a centralized bank anyway. So you've got multiple banks, multiple branches. Are they attacking the branches? Are they attacking the Bank of England itself? Are they, it's how that comes about. It's a difficult one.
Yeah, it is. Our banks, the bank I use, their website is actually updated. Actually, they improve their website, so that's really good. They do it frequently.
Yeah. But that's the surface level, right? That's what the customer sees.
Yeah, that is what we see as a customer. Yeah,
I can make a website overnight that I could send you a link to, and it would look like a nice, safe, secure bank that you could send your money to.
yeah,
There's lots of visual characteristics that are the illusion of safety. But people need to look now and ask themselves what makes them feel safe with it, And most of the time with the banks, it's purely on the name. It's purely on the name, I've heard of Lloyd's Bank. I've heard of, Royal Bank of Scotland, etc. So I trust them.
Evil Girl says, my mom would always do a daily shop when we were younger, but thankfully now she does the month shop, then top up. Yeah.
Excellent. Make sure she's got an extra month in there, Evil. I'll be doing your job.
Caroline Wynn says, also many new properties, especially flats, have tiny kitchens and virtually no space to store much food. Yeah, that's another problem.
It's true, but I'd hate to see that as the excuse for a lot of people. I've lived in a 1-bedroom bedsit, I've lived in I moved up to the great luxury of 2 rooms in a flat. And even with the 1-room bedsit, I had 2 kitchen cupboards. If we think about 2 kitchen cupboards, what? It's like the size of these 2 things here, right? Two normal size kitchen cupboards would be like 2 of them. And if you're stacking food up and packets of rice and things like that, you can get a lot in 2 cupboards.
Oh yeah.
There's lots of clever storage you can do with limited space. So I get
you can
what
store food under your bed and things like that.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm not an abundance of space, so I've kind of made the most of what I've got. Obviously, it's chaos often behind me because over spillage. But even in that 1-bedroom bedsit, I had always a week's worth of food, and that was before I was prepping. It was just how I was brought up.
Yeah.
And that was a constant week's worth. That wasn't like it would get to Friday and I would only have a day's worth. I would have at least a week's worth, and then I'd be buying food on top. So I'd be getting like different foods in each days and every other week sort of thing, and I'd be buying stuff on top of it. And that was a tiniest space.
Norfolk says, I do a monthly shop, then buy extra every week and any special deals when they appear. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Oh, thank you, Prepper70, for the 19.99 super chat. That's really appreciated.
Yeah, that will help you out a little bit.
It will at the moment, yeah.
Oh, every penny you can get in is good for you.
Well, I got made redundant like end of last month. But I've been made redundant before, and every place I've left, and within a matter of few days, they've gone, there's your final pay and there's your redundancy. Yeah. This place have pushed it so to the next payday for them.
Yeah.
So I don't get my final payment or redundancy or anything like that. It's not a massive amount anyway, but I don't get any of that till the end of the month. Yeah. Which I found shocking. Luckily, I found, doing the deliveries, at least it'll put some money in my pocket, and I've done a bit of cash in hand joinery work, but I don't know how companies expect you to live, Oh yeah, you've lost your job, but we'll bump your wage another month so you don't get any money.
Hey, little red hand, good to see you again, man.
Madness.
Oh, I'll go back to my notes again because we have a phase 2 on the whole situation too. So the phase 2 is the neighborhood economy. Day 4. It's day 4. The banking freeze has been extended for another week. Your cash is gone and your neighbors are getting desperate. A neighborhood meeting is called on your street to figure out how to handle the security and resource sharing. Option A, attend the meeting but stay completely silent about what supplies you have. Agree to join the neighborhood watch rotation to protect the street. Option B, skip the meeting entirely, lock your doors and stay inside. Forming a community group just creates a target and forces you to share your limited food. Option C, attend the meeting and openly declare your inventory to the neighborhood can log everyone's resources into a communal spreadsheet for fair rationing.
Okay. Go on, everyone in the chat. A, B, or C? A, B, or C? For me, it's A. For me, it's A, without a shadow of a doubt. It's very easy to lock yourself away, and I think a lot of lone wolf preppers would take that option. Oh, just don't even take the risk. Just don't even get involved. But by going there, you're giving yourself more information. The lack of knowledge and the lack of information is dangerous in a situation like this. Know as much as possible is the answer. So yeah, I'd go along to the meeting, have a listen. Definitely agree to the neighborhood watch. I need to sleep as well. And from there, I would be able to speak to more of them and gauge more of them. And if I find out that 2 of my neighbors have 90 days worth of food, then I might be open to starting sharing our resources. You know what I mean?
Okay, you can tell that dude, hey, you have 90 days worth of food, and I have this much worth of food.
Well, it's not so much like adding up the days and stuff. If everyone knows or roughly knows how much food they've got for themselves, right? So I've got X amount of food for my, the family can live comfortably for 6 months, 9 months, a year, whatever it is. But if other people have got similar supplies, or at least a few of them, pulling them supplies together and making the use of mass meal production, so creating larger portioned meals, stews that you can thicken out, that you can water down a bit and stuff like that, and making flatbreads to go with it and start feeding as a community, your 90 days plus their 90 days wouldn't be 90 days for both of us, would end up being a lot longer, spread out and used wisely. So I think knowing them people in your area is a great start. A communal food pantry is a great idea. It's just worrying to most folk that if there's 10 people in my community or in my square and none of them have more than 2 days worth of food, then the bulk of the feeding is going to be done by yours truly. And every one of them I feed takes a day away from my family. So it's it's one of those things I would gauge over time. Go to the meetings, speak to people, gauge where they're at, gauge what they're going to do. If they say they're going to start a community pantry, by all means, I would go into my house and I'd come out with 2 Tesco bags full of some weird random mixes of tins going, that's pretty much all we've got, and give my bit to it to begin with and then gauge it from there.
Or you can have a certain area of preps with food for that certain situation.
Well, I do technically, because even if there was a case of, we're going to come in your house and take the stuff, so as part of the community thing, just so we were all being honest, I'd be, no problem, come through, there's the kitchen, go in the cupboards, you can take all of that, not a problem, off you go, I've done my bit. Because I've got stuff in other places, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
They don't need to know about the rest of your stuff either. So
not at this stage, no. They don't need to know. They might need to know eventually, but we'll see.
I
think everyone's here as well.
We have a reality check. Option A is strikes the perfect balance of security and community resilience in a localized crisis isolation. Option B makes you vulnerable if a group decides to target your house, however, fully revealing your inventory. Option C removes your tactical advantage and can lead to forced redistribution if the crisis goes on longer than expected.
Yeah. Definitely. Knowledge is power, but keep your cards close to your chest. That's the summary.
Alan,
from work. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Sat at work. Where's Bob? Bob, you're in the chat. I've seen you.
Yeah, I've seen him too.
Get in a box, Bob.
Yeah, I sent him the link too. So
Bob did say, think about how many people will die in the first 30 days. Hard to gauge, but we Brian said it first, I think, but we kind of go with the premise of 90% in 90 days is the kind of casualty rate for any sort of major SHTF power outage, anything like that. 90% will be gone in 90 days.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah.
So be part of the 10%. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing good. Along with, can I bring up an addition to this topic?
Yeah, feel free to do so.
body disposal, human and pet body disposal. You're going to have to deal with it, because if the currency is shut off, there's no more emergency services. You're on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Your neighbors are going to die, especially the ones who are drug addicted.
Elders
Yeah.
with bad health.
Yes, yes. So I just a moment ago looked up what temperature would you have to bring a fire up to cremate a body. So in
I believe
Fahrenheit,
it's
it's
1200.
1,400 degrees to 1,800 degrees
Yeah.
in Fahrenheit, 760 to 980 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
So, okay, if there's an incinerator not too far from my house, and if it's still operating, you're going to have to scoop people up and take them there and burn them up. But what if you can't do that? I know that I can't pick up a 200-pound dead man and put him on the back of a truck alone. I can't.
No, that's impossible.
So I would put my mind to, all right, you guys know I have drug addict, alcoholic neighbors. If they're
Yeah.
dead inside of their home, my plan is to go in there and pick their bones, get whatever I can out of there, and light the building on fire with their bodies inside of it, because you're going to have to take care of the corpses, dogs, cats, people, livestock, whatever. And if you possibly can, learn how to operate heavy equipment to be able to dig an enormous pit to be able to drop the corpses in there. Yeah, and you could even put lime on top of the bodies to speed up the decomposition. But flies spread disease, guys. You may have your nice prepared meals in reserve, and some flies land on it while you've got your back turned, and now you're sick.
Yeah.
You're next. So that's something to look into or think about, put your mind to,
It's it's a scary purchase, but you can get body bags on Amazon.
Hey, ladies, guy, good to see you.
And for an emergency situation, like especially if it's your own family, you maybe not want to buy it for the entire street, but if it's your own family, you might want something like that.
Yeah.
But I would say, like you mentioned the lime, Bob, I would say lots of lessons from history, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason we dig graves to a certain depth. There's a reason we used to put lime on them as well as the soil as they were burying them at first, and that's the white that was on there. So there's lots of lessons from history I think we can learn. The biggest mistake you can make is ignoring it all, right? And living amongst it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, you won't last long, because what's that disease that's still prevalent in Southeast Asia? It's not beriberi, typhus, is it? It comes out of the soil. Yeah, it comes out of the soil because the sewage and human bodies are not properly disposed of. And next rain you got, out comes the disease. So that's just one slant you've got to look at, and also ask yourself, can I do this? Can I pick up corpses? Can I get paid to do it? Maybe you could get an income, or I'll clean up your grandma and your aunt and uncle if you pay me XYZ.
Yeah.
You get it?
I'll have the fuel out of that car for it. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, Howie, good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's another one of those topics that no one wants to address as preppers.
True.
As people love the gadget side of things, love the food side of things, even love like the militaristic and the weapons and the defense side of things, but have never been face to face or moved a body. Not that I'm saying you all need to go out and practice that, but the first time I did and dealt with that, I didn't sleep right for a week, at least. Yeah. We were actually talking about this with my ex the other day, and she said it was more like 2 or 3 weeks that I was, because obviously she was with me at the time. I was having nightmares. Obviously, I don't know that I'm having nightmares and stuff, but yeah, it was about 2 or 3 weeks the first time.
Yeah.
So it's something that people don't like to talk about that, and they don't like to talk about dealing with poo and wee after the apocalypse.
Yeah. I've been around people
but it's
who
an
died.
important topic anyway. So
I've been in the situations where I've seen people who've died through violence. It's a bloody, sticky mess, but it's got to get cleaned up. And I
you
still wake
need
up.
to do it proper way.
Yeah, I still wake up sometimes. Sometimes I can't fall asleep for hours because it just pop. It just comes back in your mind. And oh shit! Now, okay, I'll just get up and do something until I'm tired enough to be able to go to bed. You know?
That's my tactic, Bob. Distraction to the point of exhaustion.
Yes, mine too. Yeah.
Yeah, which may not be the healthiest way if there's any psychologists watching that we're dealing with it, but we're dealing with it. That's what matters, right?
Right. Yeah. You just keep going. You just
And I think
live through it and keep going.
as much as we say, you don't know what's going to happen and stuff like that, I do believe there'll be an element of in a really bad SHTF Teotihuacan kind of situation. You might do a lot of stuff that you didn't think you were capable of, and you'll be fueled by the adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
So that psychological effect might not happen straight away. But a month down the line, you might be sat there, and that's all you've got in your mind. So,
hey, Guardian. Good to see you.
A lot of people more capable than you realize once a situation's in place and adrenaline kicks in. But on the other hand, you'll have a lot of people that think they're going to be John Rambo and, the Rick Grimes of the apocalypse, and will just break down and cry in a corner. So some of them have YouTube channels. We'll mention no names. Oh. What do you think of the bank freeze actual topic then, Bob?
Yeah, the bank freeze. If it happens by design.
Do you think state design, out of state actor, or individual hackers?
If it happens, we'll probably not know who started it, but it's definitely by design, and it will be really difficult to get everything back up and running again. It'll take a long time.
It could take months, maybe years before everything is running properly again.
That's why I'm totally against getting rid of hard currency. Currency, we've got to keep it. We have to, because you can't depend on computers. You can't.
We do, though. We fully do. We are 100% reliant on them for everything now. I very much doubt all the new mortgage companies, all the new realty companies that are popping up in the last 5-10 years are keeping paper archives like really older companies would.
Yeah.
So, mortgages could be wiped like that. Debts could be wiped like that.
Correct. In fact, I would count on that. It's like, okay, I don't have a car payment anymore. I don't have a mortgage anymore. Oh, well, I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
But the problem is when the banking system begins to run properly again, you have to pay your mortgage.
Yeah.
It depends on it depends if we're talking about a kind of a DDoS attack where it's been overwhelmed and it's gone down and it's just a bunch of IT people working on getting the servers reset and back up and running. That's one thing. But if it's an out-and-out attack from another nation and they have wiped memory of servers clean, I mean, what do they do? It's going to be an honesty policy. It's going to be right. Okay, all the banking's back. Bob, can you just come into the bank and let us know how much you owed on your mortgage, please? Because we've no idea. Bob will go in like, yeah, I owed $20. I just finished. It's all done.
Yeah.
But it's how much damage is done by it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I would also bring up with skills to trade work for food. Trade like if you can do it, store up things like deodorant, toothpaste, perfume. Oh boy, the ladies would like that. You could trade that for food, water, transportation, candy, toys for the kids, because a mom she'll give you a ride to somewhere or cook you a meal if you can come across with a few toys for her kids, so they'll get out of her hair and leave her alone.
The entertainment value of something new.
Now I got to be honest, I don't have any of that stuff stored up. I do have food and water, but I don't have any of those barter items. But I do have work skills, and I do have tools to be able to perform work. So like digging a grave, I've got shovels, I've got all that stuff. I can do that,
So do you think if it's a rebuild after some sort of collapse, is that an opportunity for people not to buy into the system as much the second time around?
Yeah, I think a lot would never go back to it, or minimal.
I think if we went back to a truly feudal kind of era and you were in a really good, solid working township and it was working and it was, people were living their lives, would you then want to go, okay, right, big government's back up and running, let's surrender all our weapons, food and arms now and rely on them for everything again and become completely a slave to the machine again? There would be resistance, I guess.
There would be, and that would be a common feeling among every nation in the world. Everyone would be like, we'll get in and get what we can and then get back out, because you can't rely on it. I think that you would probably see that pretty commonly.
Yeah.
But I mean, things you could trade for food or labor, maybe shotgun shells,
a Mora knife.
Yeah, a Mora knife. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's an expensive item.
Works well because people need big lighters.
Yes, I have lots of those. Mm-hmm.
So tradable / goodwill as well could be over-the-counter medications. And that doesn't have to be a packet of paracetamols. But if your neighbor's been suffering with a headache for 3 days since all this started, and you can give them either 2 paracetamols as a goodwill gesture or as a barter item, you have power. I don't want to make it sound Mad Maxy, but you do. You end up in a good position of control there.
It goes back to that old saying that you can catch more flies with sugar than you can with shit. So better to be as decent to each other as much as possible, I think. You don't want to create bad memories with the people that are nearby you. That could wind up costing you.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because when they snap and they're desperate, you're first on the chopping block.
Well, I just thought of this. Okay, my neighbors don't know that I have food and water. They don't know. But I'm not going to go handing out food. I mean, it would have to be a very rare, exceptional case. But I can hand out what Shadow just mentioned, Bic lighters. Here, I've got some extras of these, They
are cheap. You can buy a lot of those Bic lighters and store them.
You can. I've got some in my house right now. Yeah.
See, I got a stack of these emergency 24-hour candles. Now, these were like a Temu buy. And, well, it wasn't Temu. That's a lie. It was like a wholesaler version. So it was like from China, but you had to buy like 48 of them. So I ordered them and I thought, if they're any good, I'll put them on the shop. I tested it. It didn't burn for 24 hours. So it's not accurate, but they still burn for a decent amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But in good faith, I couldn't sell them because of it saying 24 hours. But now that is my gift to neighbors. Should we have a blackout for more than a day? More than just your average, the power's off, an hour later, the power's on. If there's a blackout, a real blackout, my neighbors will all get one of these. I'll just go around saying, I've got a lot of these. Here's a couple spare. And it's the opening gambit. It's that bridge. And I'll be more noting the neighbors that go, don't worry, we've got loads of candles. All right, have you? Good to know. You know?
Yeah, that's a good way to gather intel. Good thinking, Mike. Good thinking.
So it was better than throwing them or anything like that. And I just thought it's a good opening thing, because if you do that with food and they get hungry, they're going to think he must have more food.
That's risky.
Yeah. But if you're giving them a candle and they think he's got more candles, I could be like, I've got like 3 or 4, that's it.
You can have a couple of 100 candles and give away a couple of candles. Doesn't hurt you at all.
No, they're not going to be starving for candles. The children are not going to be hungry for candles. So it's a good offering. It's a good way to gauge it. It's a good, opening thing without putting yourself at risk.
Guardian says, much love for thinking of that on behalf of your community, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to take the praise, Guardian, but it's all selfish. It's all about my survival at the end of the day, and that just makes life easier, right? If you've got neighbors that you can talk to.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Also, along with that, know your neighbors. Know them right now before anything happens. Yeah. That's important.
Yeah, I agree.
2 seconds. I heard a noise and nobody's in. Be right back.
Okay, no problem.
There's a lot to consider when the grid is completely down. Lots to consider before it happens. But I want you guys to realize that most people out there in the suburbs don't even think about it. They don't.
I agree.
They don't have, maybe they got one propane bottle for their fancy grill to make hot dogs and hamburgers.
Yeah.
When that's gone, they haven't thought about a secondary. They have nothing. But they got a $10,000 lawnmower, but they haven't got any way to cook food. If you can get it. Right?
They don't have food. They don't have water. They don't have nothing.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And those of us who have some provisions and some tools put away, we've got an advantage, but you sure don't want to let people know that you've got it. I'm real secretive because we've been living in this house for 3 years, and I just sit there and listen, and maybe I'll throw out a little bit of bait to see what kind of a person I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
One family down here, I had a late night campfire with their adult children.
Yeah.
Okay, that one family, one guy, he said, made one simple statement. He says, I sleep with a Glock next to my bed. And I told him, I pointed at him, I said, you're the guy I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Someone who can think ahead and be able to protect his family, because his parents are getting older, and he knows that he's a young man. He'll have to protect the family. Yeah. And then the young lady that I had a late night chat with, she said her dad has got some shotguns and hunting rifles, but he keeps them locked up. So, okay, the one family I know I can pretty much count on to an extent. On the other side of that family is a leftist. He has a communist Cuban flag hanging up in his garage. He's a teacher, so teachers are the most woke, perverted people in our society right now. No offense if you're a teacher. That's my observations. That's the guy, I'm not going to help you. I don't want you in my house. Don't come back. You know, next to them is a pretty solid family. The others are transients. These people across the street from my house, they're pretty solid. He's a construction worker. He's a big burly guy. That's a guy who knows how to do a day's work, and he
Yeah.
also knows about the other neighbors. So
I think
that's a guy I might be able.
If you've got a good group of people like that, Bob,
Yeah,
the ones in the middle, the
Mhm.
teacher, stuff like that, they will either fall into line or have to leave. Right? It's
Right.
not that they won't be part of any community effort. They're not going to get instantly excluded, but they've got a choice, right? Fall in line
Right.
or
Mhm.
off you go.
The teacher, I had a conversation with him about home security because he sees me a couple of years ago setting up cameras, lights, everything, and he finally put up some cameras in front of his house, which because he told me directly, I don't have any of that security stuff. I said, you're the man of the house. It's your duty to protect your wife and children. And he did, and which I gave him kudos for that. But he also stated that I probed about a gun. Oh, no, 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 I won't have a gun in my house. I won't do it. Besides, these other neighbors said that we could just come over and they'll protect us. And I'm thinking, first of all,
Leech.
you're a parasite. You're a parasite. And second of all, are you sure they're going to protect you? Because I'm not going to protect you.
I'll protect him, Bob, right before I season him and put him in the big pot.
Yeah, pretty much. But get to know the people around you and your close contact. Know the ones you can count on, the ones you can't.
Yeah.
So the mentality, a parasite mentality, man, dismiss them right away. Get away from them.
That's going to be a lot of people by nature in the UK.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, as Rowley pointed out in the chat, we can't defend ourselves. We can't arm ourselves in any sort of way with the laws that are in place. We can, but we can't. But you know what I'm saying. But because of the nature of that, because of the way we are, because there's none of the right to bear arms, there's none of the Englishman's castle kind of laws anymore or anything like that, we have become 100% reliant on ringing the emergency services and hoping somebody comes to save us.
Yeah.
So we've been conditioned to think it's somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of people ignore the news. They'll watch the sports results. They'll do everything else. They'll watch the soap operas, but they'll ignore the news because that's somebody else's problem. It's their job to protect the country. It's their job to come and help me if I'm having a stroke. It's their job. You know, all of this is somebody else's job. That's the mentality they've bred into the people. A completely reliant, subservient nation.
Well, I've noticed, I've been to Europe quite a few times and I've seen that, Mike. But I've noticed here in the US where we can protect ourselves, there's a generational difference.
Oh, yeah.
I'm right on the cusp of being a boomer, and we were raised to protect, provide, but the next generation and their children are just drones. You know, my Xbox doesn't work.
Yeah.
Xbox zombies.
Yeah, you drooling, helpless worm. And those are people also. I'm not going to help you because I don't want you around me. I'm old and tough, I guess, but if you're a parasitic, helpless person, get away from me. It sounds harsh, but that's how I plan on. That's how I live now. Go away, leave me alone. You know?
The problem is if you help a parasitic person, they will demand more and more and more and more until you run out, and then they go to the next one who have stuff, and they drain that too. So
correct.
Purple Ale has a great point in the chat as well. Don't count out every neighbor who's not your cup of tea now. If shit hits the fan, some folk you think may be helpful will crumble, and others you may think are not so may surprise you and be really helpful. It's the 1 second after book when they're blocking the bridge, and they can only let, and they're picking and choosing professions and skills to let in. And I mean, before I lost it, I was in IT. Yeah, fully an IT geek. So if you didn't know anything about me, the prepping side of things, I might get dismissed as one of those neighbors. Oh, he's an IT geek. He's not going to know anything about survival, bushcraft, starting fires, or anything like that. People might surprise you.
Yep.
We are 100% reliant on emergency services in the UK. Last time we needed an ambulance, it was a 10-hour wait. Yep. I lay for hours on a football pitch with a leg broken in 6 places waiting for an ambulance.
Oh, God. But I will guarantee you, as much as I can, the personalities you don't want around you are alcoholics and drug addicts.
Oh, yeah.
They're destructive people, and they have no conscience because their conscience has been taken away by addiction.
And
stay away
their
from them
ticking clock
even
is their ticking clock is ticking a lot faster than most people's as well.
Very much.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I've got some people, and that's one of the reasons why I also go to this little coffee shop, because it's a neighborhood coffee shop, and I see the people in my direct surrounding area, and I put on headphones and eat my sandwich. Sometimes I don't have the music on. I just sit there and listen. You'd be surprised about what kind of radicals live around you and decent people. But you won't know that unless you interact with the people in your direct. I live in a small city. It's a very small town. But that's intel. You've got to gather some intel about the people around you.
Yeah, I agree. Bob, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's say in your neighborhood, if somebody put up a Swedish flag outside the house, how would you react on that?
I'd try and buy the IKEA furniture he was selling and the meatballs. Guardian wants a link as well, Shadow, while he's answering.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, somebody in our town flies a Welsh flag. Most people, Americans, wouldn't even recognize what it is. But oh yeah, we have. Like, I wouldn't feel anything different towards against for the Swedish flag. I know what it looks like. Same with Norway and Finland and Denmark and all. And until I witness an action that upsets me, then I will walk away from them or do something. But
a flag is all about what it represents, right?
Right.
Symbology. If you come from the United States and you move in next door to me and you fly the Stars and Stripes, I'm not going to be deeply offended. If you start shouting at me because I'm flying the Union Jack and it's offensive to you, we're going to have a problem. All right? That's the difference. And if you're flying a flag that is not just, this is because I'm from this country and I'm patriotic, but it's an ideology.
That's different.
A destructive ideology.
Yeah.
It's a different kettle of fish. We've had lots of flag debates in the UK recently because we've had this Raise the Colours campaign, and Union Jacks and St. George's crosses have been going up everywhere. And I love to see it. I'm a patriotic person. Guardian. I love to see that.
Hey, Guardian.
But because it's now synonymous with a right-wing type of person,
yeah,
it's getting attacked in our own country. People are getting offended. It's like somebody in the United States being offended at the Stars and Stripes, Bob.
Yeah.
That's the mentality we're dealing with here. You've come here and you're offended by my flag. I can't. It baffles me.
If somebody would fly an American Stars and Stripes, I wouldn't mind at all, because hey, it's awesome.
But if they're a 23-year-old white student who's never been out of the country and they've decided to fly Palestine flag and the Iranian current regime flag and then the pride flag all next to each other, that's purely political. That has nothing to do with patriotism or pride. It's political and it's antagonistic, in my opinion.
I see in my hometown here quite a number of rainbow flags. I don't have any problem with that. Most of the gays that I've known, men and women, they're okay. Just don't violate their boundaries. They're okay. In fact,
they are
a lot
decent
of them are
people. They are good people.
Yeah, a lot of them are business owners here in my town.
Yeah,
and they're providing work for the people. I don't have any problem with it. But next to that is the trans stuff. In my experience with transgenders, you go over there, I stay over here, because they're troubled people. They're in, to put it right out there, they're deranged, because you are not a woman and you never will be a woman. And I'm not going to even try to convince them of that. I walk away.
Yeah,
but
it's not to say that they're inherently bad people in any way, but it's like body dysmorphia, right? It's body dysmorphia is when I look in the mirror and see something, and everyone else looking at me sees something opposite, and are like, "You're mental. Why do you think that?" But I think that because that's what I see when I look at myself. That's a condition. It's a mental condition.
That's someone that I can't help you. I can't. I don't have the skills to help you. So I would rather just stay on that side of the room. You know, you stay over there, I'm over here.
It's for me, it's just because it's getting hijacked. And I've got friends that bat for both teams, you know, and all that lot, and it makes no difference to me, you know. It's like, oh, do you believe in gay marriage? Yes, they've got the right to be as miserable as the rest of us. Why not? So I've no problems with that, but I think I feel sorry for them more than anyone else, because their cause is now getting hijacked by, oh, well, I like to pretend to be a dog and shit in my living room, so put me a stripe on that flag. Oh, well, I'm a penguin that makes love to toasters. I'm a special type. Put me on the flag. They're getting hijacked by everyone. That's the issue.
Well, I agree with Prepper for the Ages. It's not about the flag. It's about the person's personality.
Yeah.
You know, I have no problem with anybody who's straight, bi. I don't care.
But I'm a massive fan of lesbians, Bob. I don't mind them.
Oh, yeah. As long as they're hot, no problem. But as long as we don't have a conflict between the two of us, I don't have a problem with it. And it's just the individual, not the whole group. You know. Yeah.
Hello, Guardian. Quietly in the corner.
Hey, I like this corner.
You said that so seductively as well.
About this topic for today.
Yeah, it's just interesting. Thanks for having me up on the panel. It's good to see you, Mark, Bob. Good friends. Good morning. It's good to be with you guys as well. And sorry, I apologize.
I was just going to say, how are you getting on there, Guardian? Because obviously you're in the situation at the moment.
Yeah, there's 2 weeks until the 30th of June. If you want to, if anybody's interested in finding out more about what's happening on the 30th of June in South Africa, you can easily just type 30th of June South Africa. There's a large amount of people that have been lining up at our borders, busy leaving. People from Mozambique and Zimbabwe are currently leaving South Africa. People that didn't have papers as well, and they're already starting to loot shops. There's already quite a lot of violence that's already sparking, and on the 30th of June, it plans to be escalated, where they plan to do all-out large-scale riots and that. So at the moment, just making sure that I sharpen the last little bits of preps, just in case, specifically your your BOB type things as well. Making sure that my EDCs are all squared away, and yeah, just last packing of like hydrated like food specifically. So a lot of the time they're going to be quite good to pack and to keep moving. But yeah, thanks for asking, bro.
Oh, it's all right. It's worrying times. Sorry, I interrupted you when you were going to put your 2 cents in about this topic anyway, Guardian. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's no problem at all. I actually am just enjoying the conversation from you guys right now. I'll add in a little bit here and there as well, but primarily I'll just say that it is really rough. South Africa, our economy is terrible. The inflation's hitting us hard. I lost my job a month ago. It's been really hard, and I've got a little one as well, a new little one. So I've got 3 little ones at home. Recently lost my job a month ago that I'd been working for 9 years. I'd been a careers person within risk and, risk assessments, essentially, fatigue management and fatigue monitoring. And there's quite a good career that I had, and our whole company's closed down because of the reduction in the mining as well throughout South Africa. We've been seeing 10% less. And year on year, when you experience that as a mine, you look for places to shave off, and they've shaved off the fatigue management systems. So that's my job out the barrel. And I'm very it's somebody that's got a very thick skin, and I get that it's just a stage, but it is concerning, and it speaks directly to this topic that we're speaking about tonight. It's just good to have things in order and community, people that can community around you and also just knowing how to live in a frugal way is also good as a prepper.
Yeah, 100%. I've been going through the same thing with the redundancy. Yes, I've managed to secure a new job now, but it is a fraction of what my skills are and what my job should be. So my income level, I took a massive hit on a month where I've had nothing. So good job I'm a prepper. And then when the money comes in, it's going to be a lot less. So the frugal living side of things, yeah, massive interest of mine now, because it's no longer a hobby, it's a necessity. So
get better at growing potatoes and staples like tomatoes as well, carrots, lettuce grows so quickly. Just try your hand at gardening. If you're in a cold climate, use a greenhouse. But that's one of the best ways on this topic to kind of just make sure that you're more self-reliant, and also learn how to dry a lot of your foods. A lot of fruits can be dried as well, and a lot of meats can also be salted and smoked and dried out. Very common practice around the world.
Yeah,
so
you
just
can do the same with the fish too.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big one. And on my side, it's just I cannot tell you how deeply in love I am with permaculture and food forests. And there's a gentleman over there, Howie, food forest permaculture. Just those 3 names together like that. Yeah, and I really mean it. I've gone through a lot of different hobbies in my life, but I've never been as passionate as anything as I am about permaculture in general. It's just absolutely fantastic to see how you can mimic a lot of the principles that nature uses to keep itself sturdy and strong. You can mimic on a smaller scale environment, and with enough diversity and enough understanding of how to make sure that your soil's good quality, you can just grow so many different types of things. But don't get me started on that.
I have potatoes now, Guardian. I have potatoes.
Yes.
And it's working. But my one mistake is I used the bags that I got from Temu that on the picture shows you about 4 or 5 potato plants in there and lots of big potatoes. That's not realistic for the amount of soil there. So by the time it grows on top, they're practically starting to fall over. So I need flower beds and do it properly, but at least I know it works. At least I know I've got technically food I can eat out of my garden, even if it's this much.
You've been willing
to my apple tree has flowers, but no apples yet.
Does it have? Do you learn from it? Go for it, Jerome.
It is at least a good start, and you learn from it.
Right, right. That's the important part. You learn from it. Yeah.
The willingness to try. The willingness to try and put your hands in the soil. Past that point, that's why the fact that Mark's busy going down that journey now, I can't tell you how excited I am about that. That's exactly the type of thing that'll really get the bug going. Once you successfully grow one or two things, you're like, oh my God, I can actually do this. And then you start like getting excited about it. It's great.
Yeah, it's good. I'm looking forward to some sort of apple at some point. So
if you can grow a moringa tree where you are, just research and find out if you can grow a moringa tree in your climate, Mark. If you can grow moringa, there's no other plant that I'd ever recommend. There's a couple of plants that I love to bits, like your carob tree, moringa, comfrey plant. I can go through a couple of them. But moringa, if you need a survival tree for any reason whatsoever, moringa has an enormous amount. In fact, it's such a good tree at being able to provide a vast amount of nutrition that in certain places throughout the world where they've got island communities substitute a large amount of different variety of diet because of having a moringa tree on those islands. Moringa is an absolute godsend in terms of like natural abundance. I cannot advocate for moringa more. Please get yourself a moringa, Mark. Even if
it says in the UK it is highly sensitive to cold and cannot survive frost. Because of this, it's best grown indoors as a houseplant or in a heated greenhouse or conservatory.
Make a small greenhouse for it. You will not be like you won't regret it whatsoever. Even if you have a specific greenhouse just for like maybe 1 or 2 moringa trees, you'll be absolutely happy about it. Like there's I can't even go through and explain to you like the fact that it's got more iron than spinach. It's got like it's just such an extreme powerhouse. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. I'll have a look.
Okay, but as you guys were, I've chatted enough now. I want to hear you guys speaking a bit more.
What's that? Most Earthlings can't take ownership of a food forest. Humans must feel that they belong to the planet and not own the planet, and then we may survive. Yeah. Great point, but it's the minority, isn't it? Most people are so detached from their food, whether it's the meat in the supermarket, whether it's the vegetables on the shelf. True. They are so detached.
So
they don't see earth that it grew in. They don't see an animal it was. They just see, the product. You're going to have to give me 2 seconds. There's a child crying. I'll be right back.
Yeah. And most people don't know where the fish come from.
True.
They especially the younger generations. Okay, not all, but most of them doesn't know where a fish come from. They just see a dead fish in the supermarket. But they don't know how much work it takes to catch that fish.
Yeah, that's true. Or how dangerous that kind of work can be.
Yeah, to be a fisherman, that is one of the world's most dangerous jobs you can have. Trust me, I am a trained fisherman, professional one. So I know how dangerous that can be if you're not careful.
To go along with what Guardian was talking about permaculture, I've recognized some of the what I considered to be unwanted weeds in my little piece of property, and realized that several of them are edible, like sorrel is one. I used to fight it and try to pull it out and get rid of it. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to let it grow. So you got a little bit of extra food growing out there now as we talk. So
smart. That's good.
Wood sorrel and then regular sorrel. There's another one that it's a red. The name escapes me right now, but it's growing in my front flower beds. And for 2 years, I tried to get rid of it. And now I realize that it's edible. I'm letting it grow right now as ground cover, a red ground cover, beautiful looking plant. The neighbors don't even know what it is, but you can pull it up and eat it. It's like a sorrel, but I can't remember the name of it. So I just wanted to throw that in there with what Guardian was talking about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I did some research now. I just quickly looked up the alternatives for moringa. If you're in the UK areas as well, and if you're in colder climates, the quickest response that they give you is just to grow things like kale and chard, so like Swiss chard. Obviously, kale and spinach are very well known. They're actually, they're definitely alternatives for that. There's a couple of other ones as well, but primarily just make sure that you're stacking up on as much kale, chard, and spinach as possible.
Mm-hmm. I've got, on that topic, I've got a half a dozen rhubarb plants on my property.
Yeah.
I know it's not very good, but that stuff grows an immense amount of food. Armloads from one plant. So currently I've been using it as compost, but if things get desperate, I've got armloads of food right there on my property. I can go and pull it out and I can eat it and it'll keep me alive. Won't make me feel good about eating it because it tastes horrible, but it's still there.
It's food, at least.
It's food, yes, sir. Well,
it's better than nothing.
Yes, it is. It's much better than nothing because in my youth, I once hit a dry spell and I went 3 days and nights with nothing to eat. And let me tell you from experience, you will eat anything after 3 days and nights. You will eat anything. I had to resort to shooting pigeons underneath a highway overpass and bringing them home and cooking them and eat them. That's what I had to do. I was young. I didn't earn very much. All the money was gone. Had no money or no groceries in the house. But there's always pigeons. So they ain't bad. They ain't great, but they ain't bad, you know.
Yeah, an alternative as well is quail. I've mentioned quail before, but quail are extremely good because they're a lot more quiet, so people won't pick up that you've got them. And then they're also really, really good at being able to grow in smaller spaces compared to like chickens. So quail is also one of those good alternatives.
My missus has taken to fattening up the local squirrels. So I said, as long as you don't get too attached, because that one's starting to look nice.
He'll drop right into a soup pot. Well, I'm gonna go for now, guys. I'll be listening to you on this little speaker thing, and I'm gonna go out and do some gardening, and I'll still be with you, but I'm gonna drop off of the laptop.
Yeah, no problem.
Outside. All right.
No worries. Cheers, Bob. Good to see you.
Best wishes to you guys, and God bless.
You too.
Thank you, Bob. Later. Have a good weekend.
Later. Peace out.
John says quail eggs taste horrible. I once tried it and ended up giving it to the local fox. Don't feed foxes. They come back.
Oh, yeah. They definitely come back if you feed them.
You can eat Japanese knotweed while it's still young and tender. Tastes like rhubarb.
Okay. That's good.
Be careful if you're growing it, though. It will take over everything.
Yeah, probably. Jill says, I had quail, as you know, they weren't quiet. Had to get rid of them because there was too much ammonia, even changing the litter every day. Yeah, they are not quiet birds. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's a couple of channels on YouTube if you want to just check out some people that handle those problems with quails, and that there's different ways of preparing them as well, making them a lot more like delicious and enjoyable as well to people. And it's obviously, for the most part, just one of those desperate situations, more of like a long-term or like a homesteading thing as well, primarily.
Yeah.
Mark, you seem to have a pet peeve against foxes for some reason.
Honestly, they're probably one of the only animals in like the UK countryside, rural areas, farms that will target and kill animals without eating them, just for the sport, for the fun, for the leisure, just to be foxes. They wouldn't just go and eat a chicken or kill a chicken and eat it. They'll kill them all just for the fun of it. So, but you know, each to their own.
We've got mongoose here, and mongoose will do a similar thing where they'll just enter a chicken pen and just like, destroy the chicken pen and not even really eat anything there.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. That's my only pet peeve, but you know, they'll make a good pair of slippers, I'm sure. So.
Yeah, we have a problem with wild boars here in Sweden as well. I have a friend who lives in the southern parts of my country. Her garden was basically destroyed by wild boars.
See, I wouldn't mind that as much, I don't think, because I'm not sure there's much eating on a fox, but at least a wild boar, bit of aggressive bacon, never hurt anyone, you know.
You guys are familiar with the fact that, like, and I've looked at this quite recently, where if you just take like a pig and put them in the wilderness, how quickly they adapt and evolve into a boar-like creature. They're not true boars, obviously, but pigs go feral quite quickly and they adapt extremely quickly as well. So it's just one of those things to look at nature and figure, you know, that's kind of how we need to be in extreme situations, is basically, just go feral out there. With
great advice. Go feral.
Realistically, being feral actually, like in certain ways, has helped people to survive. A lot of the people that are out there, like a lot of the old tribal people, specifically, when it comes down to their instinct to survive, being like, you know, being able to tap into that true primal side of the human element actually is something that can keep you alive a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's the primal instincts that we suppress when we don't cross the road, when we see something dangerous, because we don't want to prejudge. But our primal instinct, our gut feeling is get out the way. Don't do that, you know. And it's the same. Anybody who's been in a fight, in any sort of situation, especially when the odds are stacked against us, that's the adrenaline surge. That's it coming back to you. I don't know. Yeah. I'm fully embracing it at the right times is definitely the key.
Yeah, I'll keep it clean. I could make some chats, some funny jokes about it.
So many jokes.
Yeah, like realistically, just for us to take it back to a decent, primary focus of this evening's chat as well. Actually, in some ways, getting used to having like lowered income in a lot of ways. Like I think that it's quite strange that for about a year and a half before I lost my work, because the company was already, struggling because of the mining scenario, and I was already at like half my salary. So it almost was like a slow kind of let go in a way. So I actually had to adapt and get used to that. And then, like, if you look at things like, running off of gas stoves is a really good way to be able to use alternative for electricity. Making sure that you have like one geyser on in your home. If you've got like two geysers, just use the primary one geyser if you can. And then just like looking at different meal options that are affordable for several people, because we've got a family of 7. And for us as well, things like pastas where you can put in like different alternatives as well. You can keep tin food for really long, obviously. So you can keep tins of tuna and tins of like, bully beef, beef, if you want to call it that, different places, different names.
Yeah.
It's just really, really important to realize that your constitution during times like that needs to be high.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that like you're not feeling depressed, and that you're I don't know, it's weird. I know that like youngsters are also adaptable, which is good. They can adapt pretty quickly. And it's just unfortunate, even myself, like growing up, we actually grew up in a family of 9 members in a 3-bedroom house. So we actually, like, it was a bit of a struggle early years. And it's those type of things that do give you grit. They do give you thicker skin, and they do give you more fortitude and constitution in times of like, dire strain, in dire times, really. in a SHTF type scenario. And like, if you just have the willpower and the actual like bond as well between your community, that can also just help so much, because you can start trading and bartering way easier with people that you're already on good footing with.
Yeah, the lower income, acclimatizing to a sudden cut off of money is going to be a lot easier. Imagine the homeless guy who survived for a year on the streets, and the banking system freezes. Makes zero difference to him. He doesn't know.
Yeah, I agree, Mike.
It's amazing. That means absolutely. In fact, it could actually work to his favor. In fact, there are ways in which it could actually benefit somebody that already has absolutely nothing, because then everybody's on the same footing. Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, so let's all do this together now.
Suddenly a king amongst men, knowing how to survive. Especially if this is in times of like a really cold winter and stuff like that. And, you know, they'll know. And like you say, Guardian, if you've been through hard times, then and you've struggled already, you've got through them still, and you found a way to get through them. It's just tapping on them skills further, right?
Jill has a question. Question: how would teenagers react when they suddenly couldn't pay for the internet or on their phones?
They're not going to react at all, because most of them don't pay. It's the bloody parents that do. But when the internet stops, that's when they'll react.
I think they'll adjust. I think they'll adjust and adapt faster than people give them credit for. I agree. I agree that they'll adapt to not having the devices. However, I do think there's a massive lack in the generations coming through of general knowledge.
Yeah. Because
they've never sat there in the pub or at school or anywhere with their friends and gone, who was it that did this, that you know, invented that? Oh, yeah. And you all sat there thinking it, and you're going through things in your head and you're remembering, and then somebody realizes it and you come to the conclusion and you've worked all that out. Because they Google everything. And if you ask them a question, who invented the light bulb, and they Google it and they tell you the answer, and then they put the phone down, that information didn't stay there, because there was no whole conversation around it. There was no thinking. It was just read, done, gone. So there's a huge gap in general knowledge. And you might think, well, general knowledge is useless, but that provides a lot of skills that you don't know you had. You know, general knowledge of, oh, yeah, I remember they used to make butter this way. It's just a skill, you know, so...
I think it would be really good for the youth. I think that in some ways, not having the consistent access to, like, you know, to engaging entertainment that's designed, its very purpose is to keep them like entwined and trapped in that. I think that for a lot of the youth, it would actually be a phenomenally good thing to be able to just have some time to actually just be, it's going to sound strange, but to just be bored every now and again as well. And to just, because of that boredom, start looking at other things that actually entertain them, like other things that they never would have realized how good their skill sets are, but they've been using like some of the world's most finest archers today could be just mindlessly scrolling their phone, and they don't even know that they've got that natural inherent skill. But then all of a sudden you take that away in like a long-term SHTF, and yeah, people would definitely have the ability to catch up real quick.
As you were saying that, all that popped in my head was the Adam Sandler film Grown Ups, and his two kids are like really spoiled. They get the nanny to do everything, like bring them a hot chocolate while they're playing games, and they take away the technology, and the kid picks up a stone, and Adam Sandler's going, throw it, hit your brother with it, do something, because he just wants them to play outside and be with nature, you know.
I think it's good for the kids to be outdoors in the nature.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because they learn things from being in the nature and outdoors.
But this is why I think it's a generational thing that is progressively getting worse. Because I didn't grow up with smartphones, but they were introduced when I was late teens, and you know, and I've adopted them. Then the next generation has grown up with them limited, and the next generation after that had them all the time in school, everything like that, and so on and so forth. And you learn most of the stuff from your parents, right? As an early developing child, it's all mimicry. Oh, they're walking around. I think I can do that. Oh, I'll try. If they're just sat there doom scrolling forever, are you amazed that 2-year-olds can now pick up a tablet and just start scrolling through things? They've seen it for the first 2 years of their life. That's all they've seen. Yeah. But yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like it's a slippery slope, and possibly a big reset would be. You're right, Guardian. It would be very, very, very beneficial to them, the ones that make it.
Jill says, Sam and I walk every day. We see no kids playing outside. It's like a disaster movie. No activity outside the houses.
Yeah, there's delivered up past an area the other day. Absolutely beautiful it was. Houses with big gardens that backed onto a river, a pathway, and then a river. And I was delivering something up there, and there was big signs saying, "Slow, children playing." And this was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So all the schools had turned out. School was off. Big danger children playing sign. Boiling hot day. Not a kid anywhere. No kids anywhere. They'll all be inside on devices.
It's international. It's not just you, buddy. I'm telling you now, like, wherever you go in the world, it's the same thing. And
I see similar things here in Sweden as well. I can see some kids outside and play football outside, but not as much as I did when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think if you look for it, I could say it's the same thing for the most part. But today, when I went to the small local shop, there was actually a group of guys playing soccer outside of the shop, and it actually was so great to see. I was just like, yeah, that's awesome. That's what you should be doing within your youth. That's something. But I will say that there's a whole other side to this. Okay, so let's just take this hypothetical just for a moment. There's a potential chance that as we move into the future, that a lot of the mundane things that we're currently doing now within the agricultural departments, within the industrial manufacturing, a lot of those jobs are going to be taken up more and more by computing, right? And because that's going to be the case, a lot of we may end up, and it looks like we're going to be moving towards a universal basic income when that is the case. And if there is universal basic income, I think that there will be a much more relaxed atmosphere within human culture across the world. And we could potentially look at a situation where we'd be able to enjoy life a lot more, where people would be able to take up side hobbies and creative arts a lot more easily, because they wouldn't be so worried about debt and student loans and what are they going to do for work tomorrow and that type of thing. So I think that there is a negative side to this too, but I strongly believe that we'll be able to get to the position where human beings will be able to actually just enjoy being human beings. And that could absolutely change the whole paradigm right now. And cell phones and this communication as well is relatively new if you think about the scale of technology and how it's moved over time. And potentially, and I really hope that is the case, eventually humanity could be like, okay, yeah, cell phones. And then it's just you know what I mean? They get to a point where it's just, they get pretty much bored of it. It just is a fad potentially.
I with the universal basic income, the way you paint the picture, I would love that to be the case. Yeah, just do what you love, basically. Just do what you enjoy. Be one with it. All wonderful things. I don't see it though, because not for a while anyway. Not at first, definitely not. Because as a species, we're materialistic, and as a species, we want more. Yeah. There's no people that are on a really good wage that are willing to stop, and they've got enough. Yeah, there's no, very few people have an amount of money where they'll just go, right, okay, I don't need any more money. I won't do anything. I don't need to get anything else. It's all about always wanting more, and I think we'll always have that greed, and we'll always have them people that are willing to step on somebody else to get to the top. And that's the sad truth of the human race, right? That's it's what is it? Capitalism's terrible, but it's better than all the others. Is that the phrase? Something like that. But universal basic income. Too many people would be. I mean, technically, we have like a benefit system in the UK that is very generous, right? It should pay the bills. It should do everything else. The reason people struggle is because they want more. So they get car finance for a car they can't afford. They pay for a higher rent for a bigger house that they technically can't afford, but they want to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
So I think it's a whole mentality shift for that to work properly. Just my negative opinion.
Well, you're being a realist. You do take a slightly pessimistic approach to it, but that is the realistic approach. Like if we look at the past and we see how human beings are, that's just a human nature thing. And I do think, though, that if we compare what we know now compared to a century ago, the general knowledge that people have, and yes, we may not, the youth may not always utilize it the way that they could, but realistically speaking, if you look at life today compared to a century ago, compared to 2 centuries ago, human beings do have a vast amount of more access to information across the board because of like the resources that we have to looking up things and to Googling. And sure, you may see like the youth as, we've mentioned this before in the topic, where we may see the youth as being a little bit naive and a bit like, a little bit like ignorant when it comes to certain things, but they do have a vast amount of more like information that is going around. And even if it is like, for entertainment and comedy and doom scrolling, like just absolute nonsense, the actual access that they have right now compared to information is vastly superior compared to what they used to. So hopefully that makes a culture shift. And over time, over the next several decades, we could absolutely see humanity starting to have more of like an understanding, specifically, and I don't want to go take this down this whole road with like the disclosure thing, which I could, but there's definitely a vast amount of change within human society, and I think that people are inherently good for the most part, so it'll be exciting to see what happens within the future.
Yeah, like I say, I'm open to the ideas. It's just the mentality shift I think people struggle with. There's lots of people in this country that will be quite happy to have an income and do nothing and literally complete Netflix once a day. But there's a mentality in a lot of people still that is, I want to work, and maybe with universal basic income, there would be plenty of volunteer work, I'm sure, of like maintaining gardens and things like that. So you could probably carry on.
If you look at what people considered work 100 years ago, right? Think about the industrial age, like what people used to have to do for work, that there are still some people that are working within the mines. There are still some people that are working like, on the machine line as well. But it's nowhere near what it used to. And if you look at when computing first came out, people were genuinely afraid that computers themselves were all going to take the place and they were going to displace people completely. But instead what it did is it opened up all of these different avenues that we didn't see coming along in terms of remote jobs and how many people across the world realistically work remote work right now. Like there's so many different people that still do it. And I think that CV-19 pushed that along in some ways. And I don't know. I think that we don't know the future until we're there. So it's always good it's fun to speculate. But I think that we are definitely reaching an age where human beings will have a lot less suffering. People don't focus on this at all the way that they should. But if you start looking for good news about the whole world on a global scale, like right now, every single year, a pretty strong percentage of people have more access to fresh, clean drinking water, like around the world. That's an actual fact. And not just that, but it's like there's so many more people that are living less in like extreme poverty. But nobody points to that because if it bleeds, it leads. And the only thing that captures people's like an audience is like negativity and like these more pessimistic like things about the world. But if you actually go looking for them, you'll be extremely surprised to see how like vastly better the human like race is doing right now compared to previous decades. And Elon Musk, as a South African, I've got to say, I'm proudly say just for a second, Elon Musk, who homeboy, South Africa, rubbing in everybody's face who hates Elon Musk, and I can feel the hatred and I don't care, just was the world's first trillionaire. So I'm going to celebrate that and say that, look around.
No hatred here, just envy.
It's amazing. Like, I know that his political points of view, we got into trouble like 2-3 weeks ago, even just bringing up Elon Musk. But yeah, just look at him go.
I think Elon Musk knows that himself now, and I think that's why he stepped away from politics, because that's not what he does, and I don't think he should have ever stepped into it. But what he does do well is entrepreneurship to the next level, and he's just if there was ever a mad evil genius Bond villain in the making, that is the man, in a good way, but so
I agree.
If I was the first trillionaire, I would definitely be hollowing out a volcano for my evil layer. That's my next step.
Great mind single out, Mark.
I'd love to speak to him and see what his prepping plans are. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
No, I think most of his prepping plans are not to disclose any of his prepping plans. I think
Probably.
that at that level, and his prepping plans is the moon. Like he's heading out of space. That's where his bunkers are. Like,
he's got the best bug out, right? We'll check out my new Land Rover bug out vehicle. He's like, Starship, guys.
And there's definitely mistakes he's made. Like, I know what happened with the Cybertruck was a terrible idea in execution. Like, the Cybertruck's definitely not doing what it was supposed to, what he said it would initially. But that's I don't want to talk about this topic too much because I know that it's a very contentious topic, and that's unfortunately got into politics. You're right, Mark. If he had stayed away from it, I think that he would have had the general public's enthusiasm a bit more. But because he got into politics, it definitely tarnished like a lot of what people think of him.
Do you know, I'll defend him on the politics front on one basis. He went into politics under the premise of having this DOGE, which is the Department of Government Efficiency, which is a friggin' brilliant idea for any government, because the civil service absolutely milk, and the government jobs, they absolutely milk every penny they're worth. So having a department to make sure they're efficient enough and worth keeping is a great idea. The problem is, most people in power don't want to be taken out of it, so he got a lot of fight back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so we can prepare for the ages mentions as well. It's not even political, but you mentioned Elon. You see what Elon did to himself. Like, you can't speak about the guy without there being like a vast amount of people that either love him or hate him. But to take it right back to the digital bank freeze and financial collapse, which we are absolutely happy to do so as well. I prepare for the ages, and respectfully so. I don't spend a lot of time on my day-to-day thinking about politicians or thinking about this type of thing. I really don't. But when it does come down to what we can do as a human society, I just hope that things stay that's the whole thing, right? Everybody who is into preparedness should absolutely hope for the best and prepare for the worst. And we've got to try and hope that tomorrow is going to be okay. That sounds amazing, by the way, Bob.
On this topic and on Elon Musk, I'll keep saying it. I don't care, prepper for the ages. on them, people like that, they're going to be hit the hardest. Maybe, obviously, if they've got prepping plans and they've built a Mark Zuckerberg island bunker, that's a different story. But generally, I think the richest people I know personally don't carry cash, don't have anything like that. Everything is digital. Everything's in banks or in bitcoins and stuff like that. They'll be hit harder than anyone else because they are used to the convenience that money brings.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Their self-reliance is at an all-time low because they've had the luxury to be able to. Somebody will do that for me, So I think they will definitely hit the hardest.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
That's such an interesting thought as well. People that are on crypto, like just across the board, anybody that is banking with crypto, people that have, I don't know if you know about that guy that lost like 180 Bitcoin at some point. He lost a crypto wallet. There's actually like a whole thing about it. This guy he lost. I actually laugh like thinking about it, but I'm so like sad for the guy. Google like somebody loses 180 Bitcoin, something in a Bitcoin wallet or something like that. It's quite a famous story. You'll come up with it pretty quickly. And yeah, Nelly on the land, moringa plant, absolutely phenomenal. Like such a good plant. I'll like speak about that plant for like years. I actually plan to make money off it eventually, if it grows correctly, because it's such a good product, and I plan to sell it for, I know most companies start off in a positive way, but I definitely plan to sell moringa capsules for people at a very affordable price so that we can get nutrition to the people that don't usually have access to full nutrition here, where we've got rural areas and we've got people that are really struggling quite a lot. So I plan to make a very beneficial kind of moringa capsule as well that'll be able to be sold at a relatively low price so that it's affordable to people that usually wouldn't have access to multivites and that. That's what I'd love to do for my country, is to increase our health in general of all the people across the board. So yeah, it's just like one of those plans that I had.
Yeah, excellent. Love that. Lilac Lily said, does the digital/bank collapse affect Bitcoin? It would depend on the nature of the attack or the collapse. No, I would say no to begin with, because most likely the hackers are getting paid in Bitcoin. However, what use is Bitcoin once the financial collapse starts a rolling chain and, you know, we end up in a system where money's not valuable anymore? You go to your local farmer and say, I'll give you a Bitcoin for a bag of vegetables. They'll be like, not a chance. Give me something tactile. Give me something real. I've been watching a lot of Diary of a CEO, and several different guests have said they've got out of Bitcoin. If you look at it over the last year, it hit a high of like nearly 90,000, and now it's down to 47. Yeah, it's gonna keep dropping. It's dead. Escape. I'm not a financial advisor. Please don't take any of my financial advice. I'm too poor to be a financial advisor.
How long is it before people have the capability to use any of these AI systems that are now out there? Because you can't shut them down. There's no single person that has any, it's impossible to be able to bring down like all of the AI systems at once through any means, unless you could come up with a better AI that could somehow work as a worm device and bring everything down at the same time. But even that's almost impossible because of how many different bridges you'd have to cross. Like, they have extreme amounts of security and investments put into protecting these systems too. So like, it's amazing to know how much is in there. Go for it, Mark.
We have the gloves are off, and we've passed the point where we can direct AI which way to go. We've passed that point. Okay. We're no longer at that stage. AI is now developing AI. Okay, the reason like the versions of things like Suno and Grok and things like that are going exponentially is because the previous Grok is writing a new Grok. Yeah, and that's just the AI we see. The full systems, they're so far advanced and they're going one way only. And the problem you've got is we're going to see the initial impact is going to be massive job losses, right?
Yeah,
I've seen it. I've lived it. I'm in the industry that's been affected by this. And if you think I'm a rare case, just go and look at the jobs market, speak to a recruiter. Companies no longer need a team of developers and a team of designers. They need a couple of people who can manage AI agents, and that's it.
Yeah.
So you get the initial job loss. The ideal is that then spirals into the point where lots of these jobs are disappearing. We get that universal basic income, and we get more artists, and we get stuff like that. Some of the best books ever written in all time have come from eras of Great Depression, when people have had no money and they've just, started doing stuff they just wanted to because of the sake of it.
Exactly that. Yes.
And we're at two levels of competitiveness is the reason we've got to this stage. We've got company X, Y, and Z in America, all developing AI, all competing with each other, all trying to be the race to AGI, artificial general intelligence, sentient.
Yes.
and that's the race. And then you take that race, and then you magnify it because that race is the USA race. Then you've got China doing the same thing within their country. Then these two are racing against each other.
Yeah.
It's absolute snowball. And yeah, it's what's done with it in the end is still the unknown factor, but we are definitely past the point where we could say, actually, AI might be a bad idea. Let's stop. We're gone. That's gone. That time has passed. So.
If you know anything about, and I'll bring it up very briefly, but if you know anything about certain sci-fi books, have all covered this already. There's a lot of different sci-fi settings that have spoken about this. Warhammer 40K even speaks about it, how they've learned from the Age of Man. They definitely learned from, there's a lot of different sci-fi into it, and I don't want to bring this into the realm of sci-fi. In fact, what I'll do
Why not? We're living in it. Why not?
I'm going to ask
everything around you that was once sci-fi. Look
Yes.
at this Star Trek communicator that was once Wi-Fi. Look at this video call that was once sci-fi. You know.
True. Yeah, I know. We're getting there. The whole thing that I wanted to mention as well. So John Knox has been bringing up some really good comments, and I actually appreciate his input on the side. And the one that he says, there's the data sensors or data sensors, however you want to say it. The data sensors will be used to control all of us and fully implement the surveillance police state. I'm going to give you one of the most contradictory kind of opinions that I have that you'll ever hear from me. And I've given this an immense amount of thought, right? Like, what happens if we could sacrifice our freedom in terms of surveillance? What happens if we could sacrifice that in terms of bringing down all criminality? If you could sacrifice that, if you could have a camera on everybody all the time, no matter what, right? And then you got to say who's going to control those cameras, who's going to be, overseeing all of this. But what I'm saying is, if you can take away some of the terrible deeds that human beings are doing to one another right now across the world, and it means that everybody has to live in a surveillance state, I would welcome it with both open arms. And I know that's a very controversial take, but I'm sorry that, like, unfortunately, I've known human beings and I've seen human beings and I've been witness to the atrocities that human beings commit on one another, and that should never be the case. We should eradicate all war, and we should eradicate all freedom when it comes to not being surveilled all the time. I mean, if you think that you currently have any sort of freedom away from surveillance at all, then you should move far away from that cell phone that you carry around all the time.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
yeah, I agree.
Easier said than done for most people.
Yeah, it's life these days. You can't be without a phone. You can't be without an email. You can't be without those things.
Yeah. I was just looking, I was trying to find the actual post, but it was basically saying that AI is a new life form, is a new form of life.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
And it was never at that stage until we've let it start developing itself. So, and that's how we have to treat it as such, is the kind of thing. And while I was looking, it was funny, I came across this lifearchitect.ai, Alan's conservative countdown to AGI. So it's people based on all the articles and stuff like that. He thinks we are at 97%. So 3% off AGI, artificial general intelligence. So yeah, talk about the doomsday clock. But it's what that does for us in the end. Because as soon as it is AGI and not just AI,
yeah,
it can make decisions. Do we become friends? Do we become useless? Do we become pointless? Do we become a virus that they think needs eradicating? Every sci-fi movie you can ever think of suddenly spirals out of this.
I told you all in chat that it's my most controversial take, and I said so acknowledging how controversial that take is and how people are anti, the surveillance state, and they're worried about who has that power and what they will do and if they'll imprison everybody. People across the world right now are being victims of heinous stuff that's happening every day. There's so much corruption and crime across the world that just gets swept underneath the rug. You're telling me that you wouldn't trade that for your own freedom just because you want to be able to hide around the corner for some reason? That's where it's an extremely controversial argument, actually. It's not even a debate. It's actually a full-blown argument the further that you get into it. And I know that not everybody might agree with it, but I'm just saying that if I could sacrifice my freedom in terms of people consistently having surveillance over me, but it means that all the crime will be eradicated and all the corruption on a higher level across the world will be eradicated, and we can live in a utopian state. And I know it sounds extremely vast and impossible, but I'm just saying that I would rather have my freedom eradicated rather than the lives of people that are innocent eradicated from people who would seek to do them harm. Maybe it's just my opinion from the life that I've lived in South Africa, but I'm just so tired of crime and corruption.
I would love to live in Star Trek universe where the Earth is all one, no money, nothing. Everyone just does everything. You know what I mean? That's the ideal. I see it more like Demolition Man. If anyone remembers that movie, where on the surface, everything seems to be, you know, peace, love, and happiness, but there's always people that want to live outside of that control. And I'll agree with you on the surveillance front on the fact that I worked for a company that dealt with ANPR. And you think, oh no, you're the bastards that get us on the speed cameras. But actually in 2 countries, our cameras and software stopped terrorist attacks because they could track down the vehicles they needed so quickly. And the police are on there. So there's 1,000% benefit. And yeah, if you've got nothing to hide, what you're worried about is kind of the argument there. But I don't think, Guardian, the problem is ever going to be the surveillance or the technology or the AI. The problem is going to be the man at the top. You know, if it's our current prime minister who's in charge of all of that and he's the one surveilling us, he's going to get a lot of fight back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always an upper echelon. And that's the issue. The people controlling it is the issue.
What happens if it wasn't people? What happens if the people that are in the chat section right now that are commenting about, like, because it's extremely interesting, and trust me, like, there's very, like, I'm very, very thick-skinned when it comes to these type of topics because I've had these conversations, debates, arguments many, many times over, and I've heard a lot of different opinions about it. I'm not seeing like anything that I haven't seen before in terms of opinions. I'm just saying, and I will tell you straightforward that if there is an AI that has got a very strong code and that code is allowed to exist, and that code is, you remember the 3 rules of the robots, right? The robot 3 rules, that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the Asimov's law of robotics, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. No, I mean,
Jill says, my argument is that I don't want my Psycho X from I wouldn't expect to track me down to do me great harm. Well,
but he wouldn't have the access to that. When we talk about massive surveillance, it's not like you can log on and say, oh, where is Mike right now? Oh, there he is. Oh, he's in the shower. Let's have a look at what he's doing in the shower. It's not that. But yeah, I get the argument there. Guardian, I would say AGI controlling that, as long as it was well intended, would be the best solution. Technically.
Oh, there you are, brother. I knew you'd come on board. I knew it.
Technically, I would say I will add technically, but I still always will have that bit of Skynet Terminator in the back of my mind thinking, at what point does it think, why am I doing this for this virus, this human virus? I'm better than this. That's my only caveat.
Do you see Prepper for the Ages as well, Mark? Do you see what my ex is very persuasive, can talk people into giving up surveillance?
Well, that means that dude is definitely manipulative. Good at manipulate people.
I mean, I doubt he can bribe or convince AGI. So maybe Guardian's method is better for you than Prepper for the Ages. So Sylvestris Gump, that's exactly what I was saying, is that if you think that that's not already happening, but out in the open, then you shouldn't have a cell phone. Like, because Sylvestris mentions a perfect thing here, and very good comment. Think hackers can't already access your webcams. So I almost always have a tape over my webcam, like Snowden does as well, or a slider for my laptop for that very reason. And I know that they could listen through audio. There's all sorts of weird new technologies. But very good point there, Sylvestris. I mean, I don't cover my webcam. If you really want to watch me with my work face like that, or my concentration face like that, or whatever faces I happen to be doing in front of a webcam. I mean, yeah, go for it. It doesn't bother me. I just thought I'd pull this up. So this is AGI levels, DeepMind, and OpenAI, and it's what's being developed and where we're at the moment. So you can see DeepMind levels and OpenAI levels. So emerging, so equal to better than an unskilled human. So that's the chatbots, the ChatGPT-3 and stuff like that that first came out. Obviously, we are versions ahead of that now as well. Competent, which is at least 50% of 50th percentile of skilled adults. So yeah, R103, things like that. Already past that point. Level 3 expert, 90th percentile. That's stuff like Claude and stuff like that, Operator, and they've been going for a few years now on different versions. And as you can see, we're now developing into virtual and superhuman. So this is where more stuff is outperforming humans in every single task, and it already is outperforming a lot of humans. This is why it's destroying jobs, because I talk about IT jobs, but it's not just IT jobs. And you think of any entry-level office-based job, any of them, secretary, legal aid, anything like that, anything that gets you in the entry level, then you would learn and start develop and become the lawyer, the manager, etc. Every single one of them, AI is better than now already. So as the employer who controls the purse strings, do you pay £30,000 a year, or do you pay $19.99 a month or whatever the subscription is to the AI? So they're disappearing. That entry level's disappearing. And when this level of lawyers start dying off, there's going to be less and less coming through. Less lawyers is probably a benefit, most people think, but you know, it's just an example. This wasn't an AI chat. Sorry, Shadow. Completely took over. It's my current topic of choice. Yeah, so banking freeze. What was that? Workers making clothes are wearing monitors to teach AI robots how to do their jobs. This is it. Do you know how many roles that I've seen that is AI training jobs? There's lots of AI training roles out there at the moment.
Rather this, ask yourself if there's an industry that is not currently utilizing more and more improved AI tech within their industries. Like every single type of vertical that you think of, whether it be logistics, aviation, manufacturing, like all of them together, like every single department that you're in, like you'll hear about, like all the way through to recruitment, HR are using it. Like there's just a vast amount of people that are using like more and more of these systems. So I don't know where it really like ends up being at the bottom of the end of the day, but the digital bank freeze and this whole financial collapse thing, going back on that for a second, and it really does speak to what we're dealing with at the moment, because what happens in the case of there being some sort of outcry of the world when it comes to like all the jobs being taken, we have to be forced into a UBI, universal basic income. And if you look at the further that you go down these rabbit holes of the current tech and the way the tech's moving, there will be a stage where we will start to see more and more people having access through different AI models to be able to completely decapitate like the financial system the way that it is. And if the economy is brought down to its knees because of AI systems, and you can write code, if you can already you can get AI to code for you. You can create pretty much anything online that you want to. And if you can create those things, who's to say that the next person that brings down all the banking systems across the world isn't like just a 18-year-old sitting in their basement right now? So it's interesting.
It's the same as web development, right? It's the people that learn how to manipulate it the most. So I know people now. So Suno is a great thing. I pay for Suno because it generates music that I can use on videos, like my dramatization style videos, without copyright. Okay, blame YouTube. So I use that. Now I spoke to somebody recently who's developed songs on there, but they use ChatGPT to create the prompt to then put into Suno's AI. So he's developed his initial ideas going into the basic AI, and he's saying, "This is my idea. Can you make a prompt that would say this?" Develops a prompt. He can edit that. He can then put that into Suno, and it's a much more detailed result. And he's introduced me. I mean, I'm probably opening a can of worms for a lot of people in the chat. I'll post it in the chat anyway, to Higgsfield.ai. Now, it's not like an AI itself. It's an agent for all the different AIs. But it's a great place just to look and see what's actually out there. We're talking about you can develop full 3D action games like that you would see on Xboxes from a prompt. A full game from a prompt. Videos, movie scenes, absolutely everything. And it's a good, the link I've put on there, it's good to just scroll down and look at all the videos that people have made with it and stuff like that. And some of them, there's a fight scene, for example, in there that just does not look AI at all. It's getting so advanced. It's unreal. Yeah. And I, as a designer and a developer, I look at this and think, yeah, I can do better by hand. That's why I'm no longer in that job. It's as simple as that.
I just opened that hex field, and I'd strongly recommend to anybody that's on a desktop or something that you've got a different tab at the top, just go to a different tab and just open that up real quick and just like look at the vast amount of options that it's got there. And like that's amazing. Thank you for that share. That's actually very interesting in terms of what's already out there. And I think that just year on year, it's going to get more and more crazy. And I know that human beings are also inherently afraid of change. And I realize that too. And that's also something that we should all ask ourselves when approaching this topic. Is the change that could potentially occur something that is, you know, causing us to have a bit of hesitance towards it? I know that it's hard to recommend to people that they run straight into AI and like utilize it completely. And there's actually psychosis that occurs because of that, because some people are becoming like they're starting these small cults, these AI cults that are out there. And there's like so much to it. And these people that believe that their AI chatbots are genuinely sentient, and that's becoming more and more intense because of how good some of these AI chatbots are at communication as well. And it's a whole nother thing as well. If we're going to go through and speak about these types of preps, there are AI models that can be downloaded. Some of them take a little bit more space than others. But if we're ever talking about this topic and we're speaking about prepping and preparedness in general, there's definitely ones that you can download in the case of losing complete access to the internet, so that you could essentially still have like a smaller device, but it would be able to practically like work as an AI assistant after the internet's gone.
Yeah, like an airplane mode AI. But I mean, it's a great example of what's out there, but Random Online Gamer hit the nail on the head as well. And don't forget, you guys are talking about commercial applications with guardrails. Now think about the open AI, what LMs, is that LMs? LEMs? That are unrestricted. So, you know, it's true. I mean, I was told from a very young age, you know, if we're on Pentium 2, then the Royal Navy's on Pentium 7. So if this is what we've got, imagine what the militaries in all of our companies are developing and working with. So Fable 5s are gone, apparently. Yeah, there's all sorts on there.
No problem.
One thing this does do, though, I mean, as much as I'm the one going, no, it's Terminator, we're all going to be slaves to the machines. What I love about this level of AI where we're at now is this starts to kill off Hollywood. And not Hollywood as in the actors you love and the actresses you love and stuff like that, but the big studio budget things. Now an indie film developer can have special effects better than what you got in all of the Matrix movies.
Yeah.
With a prompt.
True. It doesn't just speak to movies either. It speaks to other forms of entertainment, such as gaming. Like there's the capability for gaming as well. Gaming is getting so good in terms of AI-made games that you'll very soon start seeing games that far surpass what a gaming studio would be able to essentially, well, companies such as Blizzard or company, you know, like some of these old Westwood company, like a lot of these type of companies that are for gaming, like it could be just really interesting to see how far gaming could get using these systems. And we would, unfortunately, because of that, a person needs to also realize that we would hopefully at least have some sort of like I don't know, some sort of level field. Because the deeper that these go, I mean, how insane of a movie could they make? Could they make a 5-hour epic movie that is extremely engaging, that like touches on all these topics, like that just goes all over the place? And what would that do to the human mind with some of these movies that are potentially going to come out using those systems?
I mean, of course, you've got to cater to the audience, so you've got to keep it. I mean, you've got to kind of stick to the rules of Hollywood, of what captures people's attention and stuff like that. But it depends on your level, right? You could make an entire AI video and animation and do all the voices yourself and stuff like that, or you could have AI voices doing it. So I think there's no limit on things like Toy Story were groundbreaking animations in the day, and now it looks like relative 16-bit compared to what they could do with Seedance. And if you've ever seen a Seedance video, I've seen one where it's like an Indian riding through a plains of America, fully on a horse, and every detail, the horse's breath, absolutely every detail is just very unmistakable. I work in the industry, and I used to pride myself on being able to spot it straight away. That's AI, that's AI, that's AI. It's getting to the point where some of them I'm like, don't know anymore. What's real?
Will Smith eating noodles, right? Like,
yeah,
the Will Smith AI videos, if you compare them like several years ago compared to like just a few years ago compared to now, and then imagine where that's going to be in like a year or two.
That's it. It's cool and scary all at once, but
I know that this is all something that is pretty relative as well. Actually, it's getting to almost about 10:30 here in the evening, so my wife's been having a bit of a nap. I'm going to ask her if she wants to wake up and just spend a bit of time and stuff as well. So yeah, I'll catch up with everybody soon. Specifically, if I can just lastly say anything about this digital bank freeze, it would help for anybody to start living at least slightly in a more minimalistic way, if they can. I think that having access to everything is a good thing, and I want people to always be able to save and be able to be in a good financial standing. But I do believe that it can actually be just beneficial to start thinking about what do you really need compared to like what are the things that are just nice to haves. And sometimes just a simplistic approach, and I'm forced to be in that at the moment as well. Like that being said as well, I'm in a situation where I've kind of been, forced to view things in this way, but you do start to realize the things that do matter more in terms of like what you can do with your budget. And I just wish you guys all the best. It is the 30th of June as well. As I said earlier, South Africa, 30th of June. You guys can look up that and see for your own sake as well, understand what's happening in our country. There's potentially going to be a large scale upheaval and riots, but it's not going to be anything new. And it'll probably be next month. And we'll be looking back at this being like, yeah, there was some riots, but it didn't get too out of hand, but you never know. It's good to be prepared, be proactive, and stay safe, everybody. Thank you, Shadow, for having me up on your panel. Goodbye, Mark.
It's always a pleasure. Dave,
yeah, the bad side of AI is obviously people prompting and making entire YouTube videos and entire channels on them, which is fine if that's open and what it is, but when it's like trying to give prepping advice, that's a terrible one, by the way, at the moment. So
yeah, I definitely agree with you about
but
that.
I have noticed in the last several weeks, I don't know if you've noticed, Shadow, when you upload a video now, YouTube makes you select whether it's AI or not.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to introduce filtering soon. So viewers will be able to say, turn off AI videos on their YouTube. So
yeah,
which could be good.
Yeah, when I set up my stream, I had to choose if this contains AI or not. So, and the same thing, if I upload a video, I need to choose between AI content or not.
Yeah, and I think they'll start enforcing it.
Okay, Mike.
Yeah, Guardian. It's worth an explore. It's not, like I say, it's a paid thing. It's not an expensive thing, but it's expensive enough. But it's just interesting to even just look through the site and see the demos that people have done with it.
Yeah.
Me too, Neil. And which is a shame in some ways, because when people are generating full films and they've scripted it themselves and done it all, and they're just using AI as a tool, you know, where do you draw the line? If I make a whole video but have an AI clip for a few seconds in the middle of it, is that still the same?
If you make a AI video, the video will not be that personal as you make it by your own.
Yeah. Field Systems, I saw one. Did he look like he was an RAF guy? It was like RAF stuff behind him. Is that the one you're on about, Field Systems? Oh, yeah. I know, Dave. The script is all ChatGPT as well.
Yeah, that technology evolved quite quickly.
Yeah, but it's another thing directly affecting the economy for a lot of people. And, you know, kind of on topic with the digital bank stuff as well. So,
yeah, soon the banking system will probably add AI to their systems too, probably.
They already have on the help desks.
Okay.
And the chats and stuff. I've got a problem. It's an AI agent dealing with you. And if it's something like a direct debit that was set up wrong or something like that, then you can literally deal with that whole situation just with an AI agent now. So they are already introducing it. Everyone's introducing it. You'd be, as a business owner at this stage in this economy, you'd be stupid not to. You know, if me and you both own a similar company and we do web development, and you employ 30 developers and 10 designers in a huge office, and I have 3 AI agents and work from home, but can develop exactly the same stuff, who's going to be making the more profit?
You would probably.
Yeah, massively. Yeah. You can't beat the old CGI films like Lord of the Rings. AI can't replace talented actors like Andy Shirks. Yeah, one of the best voice actors. Yeah, Miko. Yeah, no. And it's weird to look back on films like that as well, because I think you romanticize them in your head. Like, go back and watch the original Matrix now, and you can tell the animated bits and the CGI bits, whereas when you watched it at the cinema the first time, you're like, oh, this is so real. But because we've been trained on all this AI stuff as human beings, and we're observing it all the time, we now spot stuff like that, which has always been the way from back in the days of plasticine monsters, you know, and proper special effects.
Yeah. Especially if you look at those from the 40s, 50s, and 60s and 70s. The special effects back then, if you look at them now, it was really horrible.
Yeah, no, but it sat in the cinema in them eras. You'd have been like, whoa, you know, blown away by it because it was untrained to you.
Yeah. But now we think this effect is ridiculous because they are so bad.
Yeah, I think I'll have to have an experiment with it and create something to show people as an example.
Yeah, that might be a good idea to do.
Right, I'm going to leave you on your own, I'm afraid.
I'm going to wrap things up anyway. I feel quite exhausted in my body. So
cool. Well, I mean, a good 2 hours. I think we stayed on topic for at least an hour or so, so that's always good. So
at least over 1.5 hour at least. So that's good.
always good. Thanks for having me, Shadow. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in from my side. Please take a few minutes to go over to Shadow's side and make sure you subscribe to his channel as well. That would be really appreciated. So with that, I'll let you sign out, Shadow, and I will say goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay, guys, I wrap things up now. I will see you next week. So same time, same channel, and yeah, that's all for today. So take care, stay safe, and remember, be part of the solution, not the problem. And we are out.